Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the November 5th meeting of the Water Committee. And I'd like to also acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional unceded territory of the Comox First Nation, and we thank them for the stewardship of our lands and water. Okay, our first item is a resolution status report.
Move it. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Anyone opposed? Nope. Okay, that's carried. Thank you. The next item is the Comox Valley Water Management Advisory minutes.
Move it. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Seeing none. Anyone opposed? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And we'll go to our report for the Courtenay and District Fish and Game Protective Association proposed Comox Lake Lagoon Works, and we'll turn it over to staff. Move second. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to introduce Mark Rutten, General Manager of Engineering Services, who will provide a couple of opening remarks to this staff report and then introduce our guest at the table as well. So Mark, over to you to start off.
Okay, thank you, James. Through the CAO and through the chair. This staff report introduces a proposal by the Courtenay and District Fish and Game Association, Protective Association, for the installation of a fish rearing channel within CBRD property at Comox Lake. And attached to the report is a letter summarizing the association's proposal. And staff are recommending support subject to the development of an indemnity agreement between CBRD and the association. And Wayne White, the conservation chair for the Courtenay and District Protective Association, is here to present the proposed project and its benefits.
Great. Thank you, Wayne. I'll just turn your microphone on here.
Okay, Mr. Cole?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you. Welcome.
Good. I was going to just point out one typo on your executive summary here. It says that the CVRD doesn't own the land. I think it says it's supposed to be now rather than not, because they own the property now that we're discussing. So it's thought a little bit of a change in the intent. So anyway, I'm here to present our spawning platform. So which buttons do I use, Mark? Just the head and
that one there to advance it.
So it started with our land for water agreement. The CVRD essentially finally landed on Comox Lake for a drinking water source, and we worked with them to essentially provide some land before that. So, but our idea was we didn't really want payment for the land. We wanted water for a hatchery. We've been looking for a number of years for a good consistent supply of water for our hatchery. The negotiations started in January of 2017, and were finally finished in November of 2018. And we were provided with 3,000 liters a minute of water. The actual site preparation for our work had to wait for the CVRD to finish their work. So that was the build out of the water intake and the raw water pump or pipeline that goes over to the new water treatment plant. So just a little bit of background for the limitations on water for fish. The proposed intake was to be at 30 meters in the central basin of the lake, but that was moved, and it considerably changed the quality of the water for fish. The temperature limitation for salmon is quite low, especially if you're rearing them in hatchery positions, kind of their situations, because they're essentially raised denser and that type of thing within the hatchery. So the temperature it would turned out was essentially below or above the temperature limits for summertime rearing. So essentially we were looking for about 15 to 17 degree water in the wet well at the pump station. It's often over 20 in the later months of the summer. So So I guess ultimately various government agencies did decide to shorten up the outfall or the intake, and that's essentially what we're dealing with now. This is the location of the new intake, and if you compare it to what was the original, you can see the little circle with an X down by the dark blue. That's in the central basin. So the lake at that point is over 100 meters deep, and the intake would have been at about the 30-meter mark. When it got moved to the shorter intake, that brought it up to about 12 to 13 meters maximum kind of thing. And it's just at where the lake, they call it a thermocline, where essentially the thermocline changes into your bottom water, your hypolimnium. So any variation in height in that can raise the water temperature considerably. If it were another 2 meters down, we might have consistent cool water, but where it is now, we've had to deal with the problems with that. So this was essentially the effect on the temperature, and you can see that the water exceeded the objectives, which are both provincial and federal. The federal drinking water objectives and the provinces adopted those the same. So you can see that in the summertime, and those red circles on there, that comes from an objective report from the province that we no longer met those requirements, both for drinking water and for rearing of fish. So, oops, I've got one out of place slide there, so I'll go back to it. So the observation after the start of the hatchery was that while the hatchery or the hatchery water was too warm for summertime husbandry, it was still cooler than the surface water in Comox Lake. The hatchery water attracted several spawning coho to our outfall even before we had this idea. Actually, just the other day, we had 13 coho circling around because we're starting our hatchery up and getting ready for our take of coho on this Friday. So as soon as we turn that water on, those fish find their way around there. DFO puts out about their target is about 675 pair of coho that they give a ride up to the lake, and they release them at our boat launch, and then they're able to sniff that cooler water out that from there come right around to the lagoon and right to our discharge. So Comox Lake is also or the lagoon is actually marginal fish habitat. It gets very warm in the summertime. We actually recorded 28 degrees on our recordings temperature recorder this summer. Well, the water, the hatchery water, and the refuge pond that we had was around 20. So there's quite a significant difference between the refuge pond is surrounded three sides by good healthy riparian area, which helps keep that water cool. We also salvaged about 250 really healthy coho smolts from that refuge pond as we were getting ready to do some work in there. We salvaged those. So the conclusion was that even though the water was too warm for hatchery, it could still provide an opportunity for summertime rearing of those fish. So I'll see if I can. So this is a look at Comox Lake Lagoon and the area that we're planning to do the work. And you can see that this is at 132.5 meters above the sea level. It'll go another meter or so below that, and it did go actually down to about 131 in I believe it was the summer of 2021 when we had the heat dome, and it actually it didn't actually start raining again until almost the end of October. So there was a long period there where it was able to drain through the ground and get lower. The lake usually tops out about 135.7. So you'll notice also the lack of any fisheries cover in there. There's no really large ruddy debris. Any large ruddy debris is kind of pushed up to the very upper ends of the lagoon by winds and that type of thing. And then as it dries out, they just get stranded up there. So there's really no vegetation around it except for our little spit that goes out there. So you can see that the temperature I noted there was was at 28 degrees there. Well, it was only 20 degrees in our refuge pond. So this is a look at what our plans are. The work that we've done on here is been helped by Mel Shang, who is he's a retired DFO restoration biologist, and he's done most of the channels on the Puntledge and a number of other rivers up and down the island. He's got about 35 years experience of working with these things, and he was the one who presented the idea of an upwelling spawning platform. So it would be right now. There's discussion of exactly where to locate it and how big to make it. The amount of water that we have surplus is about out of the 3,000 liters per minute. We have about 2,000 liters per minute that surplus to the needs of the hatchery. Because we were going to have an over summer program for smolts, and that got taken out of the picture because of the warm temperatures. So that was where the biggest water use was during the summer for rearing those smolts, and then when we bring the adults in at the fall was the top end of it. So there's a fair amount of water left there. It's actually enough to make about a 40 meter by 10 meter platform. We're planning 30 so that we make sure that we do have enough water for it. I'm gonna have to excuse myself a little bit because I have reading glasses as well as long distance glasses, so it's good to hear a little bit, but maybe I'll just go.
Oh, sorry, Wayne. Are you able to go to this mic and maybe read from that so we get the volume? Thank you. Sorry, I'm just, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for that. So the actual platform is kind of a layer cake. So we start at the bottom with pea gravel, about 25 centimeters of pea gravel, and that we lay in there our discharge pipes, which are really just like a septic tank field, where we use that same perforated pipe in there. And above that, we put in 45 centimeters of spawning gravel. Then that's where the water will be upwelling through, and there's a liner to make sure that water keeps going up rather than going sideways on you, and that's pretty well it kind of thing for it's not really rocket science, but it does provide a very good healthy spawning. There's actually a natural upwelling in Comox Lake at the top end where Toma Creek comes in. It goes into the ground and comes up in the lake, and that's the best kokanee spawning in Comox Lake is in that natural upwelling that takes place there. So the hatchery effluent will actually on the plan will bypass the spawning bed. There was concerns that the hatchery effluent itself may contaminate some of the water in there so from a biosecurity perspective, the idea was to keep those separated. So we'll be supplying fresh water to the spawning platform. So we take it from our aeration tower and inject it into the bottom of the platform to do the upwelling. The top pond, the blue line there is a berm that would essentially set the lake to sort of take the fluctuations, the 2.5 meter fluctuations out of the lake. That will be set at the highest elevation of the lake, just actually a little bit higher. It'll be set about 136 meters, so that will keep that area constantly wetted and have a constant depth of water. So it'll provide cooler refuge at the lower depths of the water, as well as that whole area is surrounded by riparian area, and your access road is actually revegetating quite well on that side. So we'll have essentially four sides of it protected by vegetation at the time.
Wayne, I don't want to rush you too much, but are you
I'm just about, I guess.
okay? And then we can take
more,
some
so
questions because we
sure.
have another meeting at
Okay.
4.
Okay.
You're our main event though. Thank you.
So this is what we've designed a little experiment this year with a tank inside a tank to actually mimic our upwelling platform. So we're going to get some on the ground But you can see essentially it's they got the pipe at the bottom and the gravel's at the top, as I was describing. So then the other connecting channel that we would talk about would be the channel that would be lined with woody debris and that are anchored with large boulders. That provides hiding refuge as well as a shade for the trees. There's a couple of what they call Newberry weirs, which are just kind of heights in the channel to create pond habitat, which also provides thermal refuge because they can get down, and it's amazing how cool it can get down at the bottom of those things. There's log booms. You can see the green along the front there, where at the interface between the lagoon and Puntledge River, to make sure that any of the woody debris, if it ever does come loose, won't get caught into the hydro dam. And the fish escape channel will be so if any fish do get into the remnant pond there, we'll have an escape channel at the bottom where they can escape to. And this essentially is the request specifically for this application now would be that we for the next intake of section 11 permits for work in about the stream that usually goes in around June. So we have it in place for the work window, and the work window would be kind of September to October in the fall. And the more general one there is just that this may be more than a 1-year project because the work window is kind of narrow. So we may and dependent on the rain and the lake level kind of thing. So it may take a couple of years. So we just want to assure that there's ongoing support at the board level. And the conceptual the design was, as I said, was done with Mel Shang, who is got a 35 years experience. We're going to be engaging Northwest Hydraulics to do any engineering review that's required. We were working with the DFO community advisor and current environmental to obtain the necessary permitting. And we're going to be engaging the KFN guardians for environmental and cultural material monitors. The design is well researched. DFO has one on the lower mainland at Hicks Creek. We feel it's the best method for utilizing our water for the benefit of the salmon. The design's low to no maintenance on it. The design will replace the existing marginal habitat in the lagoon with high quality habitat. And it should be understood that it is going to be a permanent installation. Even if our water were to cut off, it would still provide us a refuge for the fish that come into. Right now in the springtime, you get a lot of wild fish in that lagoon area, and you can see it's almost like raining in the lagoon. And then the water goes down, the heat comes up, and mergansers and herons have a feast. So that's pretty well the project. So, thank you.
Great, thank you, Wayne. Yeah, we have the herons at the lake, and then we have the seals down at Gooseup, so a lot of predators. Thank you so much.
So I'll go back and sit by Mark then.
Wherever you like, if you'd like to stand or sit. Okay, we'll turn it over to questions, and we do have alternate director and Mayor Wells first up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thanks, Wayne, so much for the presentation. This is excellent, and of course all the work that you guys have been doing for so long. It's absolutely critical work and a great asset to our community. And I just with this coming forward, just looking at and we don't have that much time, but just are there any impediments or any challenges that you see that maybe we should be aware of?
Is this working now? Yeah, no, I don't see any impediments. There is a requirement for an indemnification agreement, and I think in the staff report there's I think 10 or 11 points that are listed there, and we'll just take some time to work through that with staff and do the wordsmithing so that everyone can agree to it. We've essentially, because we're doing the asking here, we've agreed to pay for the agreement for the lawyer involved to write it up. The regional district essentially paid for all the other agreements that we've had from the land agreement through to all the rights of way, that type of thing that the regional district required to build the project.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Fully in support. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will, does staff have anything to add? Okay, great, thank you. We'll dispense with receipt, I think, and is it, okay? Moved and seconded, and any discussion on the recommendation, which is for the CVRD to be co-applicant for the application for the Water Sustainability Act, Section 11 notifications.
Just a point
Okay.
on that, that's a new requirement. They wanted to make sure that the landowners are fully apprised of what's going on there. I guess they've maybe had some glitches in the past, but
Great,
so
thanks. We'll go to Director Hillian.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to follow up on Mayor Wells' comments and acknowledge that I've known Wayne for 40 years, and during that time, he's consistently been a person who's been of service to the community. He's brought his professional expertise into activities through the Fish and Game Club, and this is just another example of that service and that care for our natural environment and our fisheries. And I just want to acknowledge that and thank you very much for your many years of service and for your involvement in this positive project.
Oh. 23, I guess. There you go, if you,
okay, thanks very much for all of you for listening too. So
great, thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed the presentation. It definitely helped take that black and white report off the page, and the visuals were great, and the presentation, so thank you for that. Okay, all in favor of the recommendation? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that's carried, so thank you so much. We'll leave it up to staff to do everything else that needs to be done there. And we're gonna move on to the water supply system, okay? Consumption report, excuse me, any questions? We do have Director Kerr, go ahead.
This is great. Every time I see this report, I think it's getting better. It has the month breakdown and also the comparison at the bottom from the last month, the same month last year. So that's great. My question about the, maybe to staff, about the September change, 2023 to 2024, there's an increase. Is that simply hotter weather related and more lawn watering, or were there any other reasons that the consumption was up? Thanks.
Oh, there we go. There you go, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. I don't have a lot to say, except those are the main factors. So warmer weather usually does drive consumption. So that's probably one of the main factors. There's no like other anomalies that we've noticed or found that would indicate that. So it's just the normal change from year to year. And weather is definitely a factor.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is there anyone opposed to receipt? Seeing none, that's carried. And there's nothing left on the agenda, okay? Great, thank you so much. We are terminated.